Hello everyone, this is Serious Trivia. Welcome back to our Subscriber Game Tournament Season 2 as we continue with our matchups in Round 1 between WARMASTER in the green versus Prominince in the red. And looking at their drafts, we finally have a matchup with Trebuchet. So the famed powerful siege weapon from Campaign is making its first appearance in our multiplayer tournament. Now this is not some secret tech, as usually Trebuchets are not worth your time, simply because it's very hard to get value back against a human player who will not charge up to you, and it's also very hard to protect them from being destroyed, and they're very expensive, and as you can see with this Trebuchet in particular, it's rank 6, so there's been quite a bit of fund invested in it. But looking at the overall composition, I think it might just work, because he's protecting it with 10 Dongjobing infantry. So these Dongjobing spear guards have the option to form squares, very similar to Ye Vanguard Spearmen. They have a bow instead of a crossbow, so slightly lower armor piercing damage, but they do have access to fire arrows, and it's a decent enough damage to prevent enemy cavalries from approaching. So that's a pretty good way of protecting your Trebuchet, with 10 units that can drop into square with 360 protection at 200 range. What about enemy generals who could bypass these arrows and try to destroy your Trebuchet? Well, he has Fa Zheng, Lü Bu, and Liu Zhang. And Liu Zhang has obviously ceasefire. So if enemy generals try to rush you, you can use ceasefire to freeze them in place and then send in Lü Bu to kill them just with melee attack, despite the 50% damage resistance. Lü Bu's weapon is strong enough to go through that, especially if you dismount. And Fa Zheng can also drop in his Mock ability, which does 6k damage, so 3k in this case. It's unavoidable damage, the range is only 100 meters I believe, so it's hard to use in actual combat. It's unlimited with a pretty long cooldown, but if you have them frozen in place, it's free 3k worth of damage, and then Lü Bu goes in to clean up. So on paper, I think the Trebuchet is pretty safe. Does this mean it'll bring back value? That's still a bit of a stretch. I don't think anyone will be walking their infantry pile up to you for your Trebuchet to destroy. You could scatter your infantry, put them in loose formation. You can use your cavalry to kite out some ammo. You can maybe use your generals to kite out some ammo if they're on fire well. I'm guessing it'll be on manual fire, just because the potential to lose your ammo with the general coming in and out of your range. But in essence, I think you can minimize the damage a Trebuchet can do as you rush toward the formation. The difficult part is Prominence's army comp is Lü Bu, Wen Chou, and Cao Cao, which are fine generals, very strong generals across the board. We have 5 Xiliang Cavalry, which is a decent choice. We have 4 Ye Vanguard Spearmen, which is also a pretty decent choice. But we have only 2 Qingzhou halberds at the end. So there is a lack of offensive infantry to break up Dongjobing. Dongjobing fighting Ye Vanguard Spearmen, it's a pretty fair fight. So we have 4 versus 6. The number is definitely in WARMASTER's advantage. The cavalry unit's going to have a difficult time doing anything close to the Dongjobing because they will provide plenty of arrow damage to shoot down the shot cav. So in essence, it's going to be quite difficult to approach WARMASTER's position, and he's definitely going to be turtled up. So we'll see how this actually plays out in battle. Quite excited to see how Trebuchets actually perform, as there's just no incentive to charge it. And we'll see how Prominence take care of this match. So let's take a look at their actual deployment in-game. And it's no surprise that we have as much of a corner hug as we can. They have the deployment zone, of course. They don't have guerrilla deployment. And we spot the Trebuchet being protected by the Dongjobing across the board. Lü Bu is actually guerrilla deploy way behind, which I think it's alright because people's not going to approaching you from the Trebuchet range, so they're probably going to cut from the sides, and Lü Bu can maybe go unsurprised at that time. And then for Prominence here, it's a pretty standard deployment with, once again, attempt at hiding the cavalry in the forest. I think a lot of players like to do this. I personally don't understand why this is good, but sure, surprising cavalry coming out of the forest. Let's see how much surprise he will be when he sees the actual trebuchet. We have a pretty aggressive forward and backward. Okay, backward makes more sense. It would be strange to see him advancing with a trebuchet setup. So he's on this little hill with his trebuchet, with his 10 Dongzhuo being... I'm surprised this match is only 14 minutes, because if I'm Prominince, I am not walking anywhere close to this, and we can have a staring contest all day. But the breakthrough will be the generals. If the generals can come and deal damage despite the ceasefire, then there is a possibility here. Because all three generals are pretty strong. And even if they're immobilized, and if Lu Bu is the only one coming in to do damage, and if they're dismounted, I think they will win with 50% damage resistance. Any one of them. 1v1 versus Lu Bu. Even Cao Cao. Cao Cao has a great sword. Very fast attack speed. So I think their job should just be charging with generals. Only the generals. Cavalry stay around 200 range outside of the Dongzhuo Bing unit. And then just spread them around the range. So that when the generals want to run, they can cover once you exit the 200 range. Now, what if the trebuchet shoot the cavalry? Go ahead. 20 ammo to kill 4 cavalry? I don't think they can kill the 4 cavalry even if they hit. Oh god. Xidang cavalry has raid. You hit them in the forest next to the town. You're letting the town fire. You're actually burning your own troops. Or they were burning the troops. The fire died out right here, but we saw the fire symbol. Not much damage, but still. It's like, surprise! I'm lighting the town next to my hiding spot on fire. I'm also curious to see what ammo he will use. Like, would he use the flammable round or the regular one? Because I think the regular one might do better against infantry. Because he actually rolls on the ground, and the impact still does damage. I think the first thing I would do if I'm in this position as Prominince is I will put my generals into range to see if he's on fire well or not. Because if I can kite out, you know, a couple free ammo and make him turn it off, I'll do it. That's a great trade. You will make him lose about 2 ammo. Maybe just 1, depending on how fast he realizes it. But you can see this edge. There's a way to approach this where he can't just split your army into 2. There's only 2 mobile units. He can't even see any. Oh, he's on fire. Well, kite back. There, just move. Yeah. Yeah. So this is an easy solution. See, when does he turn it off? We'll know if he fires another one or not. Okay, they're going to square. Then waste their ammo. Let them shoot the generals. And once again, we have way too cluttered of a square formation. The cavalry and the infantry should split to 2 sides, so the trebuchet can only face one group. The cavalry can never really approach the square, so they should just be there for show. Why not charge? They're not scary. Like right now, with the info that he knows, he doesn't know Lu Bu exists, right? That's unknown. But this is all you see. Just charge. He's trying to mock. Let's see if he actually hits a free mock. Yeah, just hit him. Perfect. Waste some ammo. Hit him. Charge into this. Just don't bump into the square. There's a little gap here. You can definitely get in. Oh, he should run into it. Okay. Let's see if he sees fires here. They've already made it. Slam the trebuchet. Lu Bu, 1 ability. Why are you scared of ceasefire? Who's going to actually damage you during the ceasefire? He's trying to use Mach. He hit Lu Bu with the Mach. 6k. Fight back. Fight back. It's 6k over a minute. It's true damage, I believe. It should bypass armor. Yeah, because it already did 2k. Yeah, what's the point? Wasting ammo? Fight the generals. Oh, what is this? Why? Okay, they got the charge in. There is no Stifling Deluge, so Lu Bu should be dumping his abilities if he's already in. Like, what is this circling? Like, is the plan to patiently wait out the ammo? Okay, they're firing now at the infantry, obviously. Why are we packed in so close? Slam this! I don't understand. They're just waiting to accidentally get dismounted. Just target the trebuchet. Wow, I don't know. Like, sometimes you ask yourself, am I playing like the AI? And this is one of those times. Like, if the plan was, I'm gonna circle around and make them waste ammo, then why send the units when they still have ammo? If the plan was, I'm gonna send in my generals to kill them, then send your generals to kill them. Okay, the dismount, that's a good decision, because in case you get ceasefire, at least you have the ability to hit back. Just target them. Did we get another mock by any chance? Oh, we did get another mock. I think, who got hit? No one? I thought I saw a mock real quick. No, it's just Wisdom River. Right, huge debuff. It's also boosted, but Wisdom River cancelled. But this is a quick kill. Lu Bu should use his ability and just clear out the trebuchet. The cavalry should be charging now. There we go. On cue. Alright, he's left. Now just hit their Lu Bu. We got two dismounted Lu Bu. Obviously, this one's been targeted. Target Lu Bu. They're not targeting Lu Bu. He's getting free hits. Yeah, not fighting the right guy. Cao Cao's like, break up the fight. There we go. Okay, the cavalry broke through. I'm ignoring the infantry fight, because that's not really going to matter. I mean, if Lu Bu kills another general. By the way, the sneaky cavalry are coming out. Cao Cao died. So we just have Lin Chou, who's trying to roar, but nothing really to roar. Oh, my bad. Cao Cao didn't die. Okay. Yeah, there's no need to chase. The cavalry will bounce back, I'm pretty sure. There's a lack of slam abilities though. Gonna be hard to clear out these Donjo Bing. That's probably the final roar. I think the generals might do better if they mount back, but probably not the most important thing. Okay, it's also giving them temporary unbreakable. That charge gonna hurt. Maybe he's trying to mount back. I think that's what he's trying to do. Okay, let's see if he can successfully get out of here. Yeah, the cavalry's bounced back. Use them. Send one at Fa Zheng. Yeah, he didn't recognize the bounce back. They just left idle. Still idle. Yeah, I think this is a common issue with a lot of, RTS players. When your units route off or, is idle doing something else, you have to recognize that and actually use them. Alright, both generals are back. Maybe regroup with the units at this point. Still not realizing they're idle? I mean, WARMASTER realized it. He's sending his spear units to shoot them. I mean, Fa Zheng's gone. Did he end up mock anyone? No, just Wisdom River, no mock. Couldn't get it off. Still idle. One got shot. Okay, the other one's finally being moved. A little bit late. Alright, can we beat the cavalry here? That's the question. With no slam ability, maybe if he dismount, hamstring can function as a slam, but he needs to be dismount for that to happen. Cao Cao's really fast. He can kite away. Just click the other side of the map. They can't actually catch him. Yeah, but yeah. I mean, to be fair, even if they're not idle, it's very hard to beat Donjo Bing with cavalry. But they could have joined the fight when they still had infantry to help them, to maybe actually get a rear flank. Now they can't approach them. So we have two generals versus a lot of Donjo Bing and a lot of cavalry. I mean, there's just no morale angle because he's getting army loss. Cao Cao is unbreakable, but he's going to be the only guy here. Misplaced devotion, he's gone very soon. You can maybe chase this to make sure he doesn't bounce back. Nope, too late. Well, the Trebuchet comp is going to win a match. I don't think he won because of the Trebuchet. Like, remove Trebuchet from this composition and just have 10 Donjo Bing versus, I think, 4 Ye Vanguard Spearmen, which they're pretty much the same unit. I think you can think of them as clones. One has a crossbow, one has a bow. But melee-wise, it's the same exact unit. So 4 extra polearm units. But the trade-off is Prominince had 3 more see-down cav. Cao Cao's about to suicide here. And the general fight went in Prominence's way as well. I mean, certainly losing Lu Bu is really costly because you lose all your slam ability to help you kill infantry. But you killed off pretty much all 3 generals at a very heavy cost. Yep, that should be it. I think the key mistake was not knowing what should have been done at that point. I think Prominince was not sure how to approach this Trebuchet situation with all the Donjo Bing, and he was kind of halfway between 2 strategies. He circled, which I think he was trying to waste the arrow, which was fine. He started trying to waste the ammo, and they turned off fire well, so on the initial approach, they weren't shooting, but I mean, obviously, I think WARMASTER was much more alert to the state of the battlefield, even with the units who routed and bounced back. But they were shooting pretty quickly after. Approaching a trebuchet from one direction with all your force cluttered together is not the way, right? That's how you don't want to approach a trebuchet. So either stay out of the range until they get destroyed, right? Then you're really only approaching a bowman position, and you could advance in, with your shielded unit, you'd be do okay. And they could have just destroyed it. Like charging in at the end, there was no cost. Right? If you remove all the advancing infantry and advancing cavalry and had the same situation play out, the Dongzhuo Bing joining the fight with Lu Bu in the middle doesn't change anything. They won the initial Lu Bu fight pretty easily. The cost was they chunked down Liu Zhang, but Lu Bu got chunked down. So it's just targeting issues. I don't think Liu Zhang was that important of a target. The key ability was Wisdom River. I think that really mattered because it did severely weaken Lu Bu stats, which is why he got chunked so fast. But at the end of the day, I think Prominince probably still won that general fight because you're still fighting against a very weak commander with a bad weapon and a strategist. So I think just if they win that fight, general pulls out, those two cavalry came really late, and they probably wouldn't affect the general fight at all. They did charge when the mount was happening, when he tried to remount, and that was pretty much it. Cao Cao got out even after that. 5 cavalry, charge the infantry, make a mess so that they can't shoot arrows, and then have the cavalry flank. Dongzhuo Bings are pretty fragile units, not very high morale, and if the generals are all dead, I think it'll be a different story. Close game. It's fun to see trebuchets. I think they just don't appear on, multiplayer for good reasons, and perhaps people are just not practiced against how to deal with trebuchets. So that was a match. Let's see the actual counts and see how many kills trebuchet actually got. So, 28 kills. Yeah, don't spend the money on trebuchet. That composition played out exactly the same without the trebuchet. This was a lot of money, not only just for the trebuchet, but upgrading it, 5 additional times for 28 kills. It's not worth it. You can run the same exact composition without it and spend the money on a couple more cavalry, and the battle outcome will play out the same. If you want to think about, would they still charge you? I mean, with the trebuchet, they're less likely to charge you. That's my opinion. None of the cavalry could approach the Dongzhuo Bing spam. I think spamming Dongzhuo Bing, it's a little bit better than spamming Ye Vanguard Spearmen, just because these cost 1,000 and these are much, much cheaper. So it's not going to hurt you. And also, there's no other great unit replacement on the generals that can recruit Dongzhuo Bing, which are Fa Zheng and Liu Zhang. There's no other, unit you would want on them. So if you have them, then getting this slightly cheaper setup is fine. But you can see the cost probably just took away from the cavalry. It didn't end up hurting him because the cavalry on Prominince side were kind of thrown into the fight in that cluster, and then they routed off, and then they never were used again. That's the thing, which kind of reduced their value by quite a bit. Your units will rout, but if they're a fast unit who can get out of damage, they will most likely bounce back, and you can use them again. So just slight more alertness there. There was a lot of opportunities where I think we would just gone in and smashed early on and just leave. I think the fear of ceasefire pretty much threw the game. You don't have to be so scared of it. You're the one getting 50% damages. Imagine your Lu Bu get ceasefired. They run their Lu Bu next to you. You have 50% damage resistance. They don't. How would you lose that fight? I mean, certainly Wisdom River would swing that, but even in that case, he would have to run up to you from wherever he was. He was, off vision, so he had to be in the forest. Maybe he was scared of Yan Bai Hu. That would be another possibility of who would be in this position. That would be an interesting what if. But in that case, you would also not want to clutter up your infantry. Imagine that situation. You're looping your 3 generals around the enemy trebuchet formation, not knowing who or what the 3rd general is because none of those units were showing. And then you march up your infantry and cluster, and then Yamba who shows out where your generals are not there and just like spray across your infantry. That would be even more devastating. Regardless, this is the result of the match, 14 minutes, 16 seconds. We'll see how fast the other matches in this group and determine who will get side selection for round 2. Until then, bye!